Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from the Moose on the Loose. I hope you are doing well today. And today we're not going to take too much of your time because we're going to talk about passive income. Passive income that should not take a single second, right? How many hours do you spend per week on your portfolio if you're a passive income investor? Probably zero. I mean, that should be the answer, right? Because if you're spending 10, 15, 20 hours, that becomes a job, right? And actually, don't spend a single minute per week on my portfolio. And that is the dream when you think about that, like passive income, right? The dream is to not do anything, have the market work for you and reap the benefits, right? Without too much work involved. A little bit of work must be involved, right? So here's the thing, and that's kind of funny because it's a big debate about what is passive and what's not. And at the same time, I feel this debate about retirement. A lot of people will say, Mike, you're not retired, dude. You have a business, you're working full time, you're not retired. It's like, all right, fair enough. I like to say that I retired from the corporate world. And the other thing I like to say, though, is that I do what I want when I want. And actually can test that theory pretty good right now because I'm in the middle of like home renovations, kitchen, bathroom, the big stuff, right? And that requires me to deal with the plumber, the electrician, the contractor, the guy for the counters, the guy for the ceramic, the floor, and then go on like shopping spree like at the middle of the day because we're missing this and we're missing that, or the contractor did not tell me about it, or whatever, those guys, they know what they're doing, but they assume that you do as well. So anyways, long story short, I'm able to do all of this and I'm still getting paid. So that's kind of like a source of passive income, right? And it's not retirement, I'll get you that, but I really like what I do right now. And I see running my business as playing a game, and I love to play that game. So I would probably do it even if I didn't need it. And a lot of investors will say the same thing. Passive investing, well, if I spend a lot of time on my portfolio, I'm not really wasting that time. I'm actually having fun, and that's totally fine. But you should probably not spend that much time on your portfolio. And this is the thing. If you trade weekly, if you trade monthly, is it passive? Not really, because you really have to be hands-on your portfolio, right? And is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Well, let's talk about it. Like personally, I don't spend time weekly on my portfolio. I will spend a couple of hours quarterly. And the point here is to be able to have a plan, set it up, and kind of like forget about it. I recently told you about my daughter Amy and the four things that, like the four advice or four tips I told her. And one of it was like, don't even look at your portfolio, like be completely passive about it. Just set up systematic investment and then forget about the rest of it. And the more you play around with your portfolio, the more you could make mistakes. And there are ways that you can make your portfolio passive and make your investment style passive. So you don't have to worry about the market, worry about anything that could happen. If you have to monitor your investments like weekly, that's probably because you have like a higher risk degree in your portfolio, right? That needs like adjustments all the time. Not necessarily saying it's bad, but it's definitely not passive, right? So here's how I do it on my portfolio, and here's why I consider myself a passive investor. Even though I talk about the market all the time, but most of the time I don't even look at stocks that are related to my portfolio. I just look at stocks because I like doing it. So here's how I do it. The big work is all about finding quality companies. This is where I spend the most time on. So yes, from time to time, I will see that coming. Oh, I will have to rebalance my portfolio, or I have like money coming in. So now I need to figure out where to invest it, how to deploy this capital. And this, of course, requires time. You need to understand a business model. You need to do an investment thesis. writing like what's the playbook, the growth vectors, the economic mode. Then you need to know what about the risk. So the business flaws, the potential threats around like the industry, competitors, external threats altogether. You need to analyze financial metrics. So this is a part of work. This is real hours that you have to spend, and there's no way you can avoid that. So in that sense, it's not that passive. You need to do that work, but the more you do this part good, the less work you have to do in the future. And here's the thing: once I've done what I call the due diligence, when I've done that due diligence, I know why I want to buy a stock. Well, then the hard part has been done. I click on the buy button, and then I pretty much forget about the stock. I forget about the stocks until the end of the quarter. So once a quarter, so only 4 times a year, I will generate my DSR Pro report. And the DSR Pro report, what I like about it is it tells me everything I need to know. I have my sector allocation, my asset allocation, I have the ratings on the stocks, and I have, most importantly, a quick summary of each company, how they did during the quarter. I also know if I'm making profit or not. So everything is there. So I read that report, and it's half a page per stock that you own. So if you have like me, I have like 35 stocks or something. Well, then it's not even 20 pages of report to read. Takes a couple of hours. Most of the time, it's business as usual, right? I like to use the example of Coca-Cola. I don't have Coca-Cola in my portfolio, but Coca-Cola used to sell soft drinks. They are selling soft drinks, and chances are next quarter, they will be selling soft drinks. So when is business as usual? You can read through the summary. That's good enough. And then you move on to the next stock. So a lot of those are like this. And then 1, maybe 2 companies in the quarter, something important happened, an acquisition, very bad results, a surprise. And then it's going to require me to read a little bit more, read on the press release that is already provided in the pro report. Maybe I'll go on DSR to read the complete stock card. So I have like the full investment thesis and analysis, just making sure that I'm still on pace and I haven't forgot about anything or any other news I haven't like slipped through the cracks. But this is what I do, like 2 hours maximum quarterly. And then I only dig deeper if I need. If not, I just move on. And then once a year, I'm going to spend maybe an extra 2-3 hours to really look at what's going on in the stock market, where I'm at versus my financial projections. Am I on pace? If everything is good, and then I'm good to go. The reason why I'm telling you this today and I talk about passive income is if you follow the news too closely, you're actually following noise, and then you're going to be influenced by this noise. Totally makes sense, right? But the more you follow the noise, the more you get confused, the more you don't know exactly what's the best course of action, and then you hesitate, and then it sucks. It sucks because you should have spent all that time just enjoying life instead of worrying about a scenario that you made up in your mind and has 100% chance of never happen the way you thought it would anyways, right? So focus on the buying side, and once it's done, just monitor things quarterly. You don't even need to know what happened last week. It's not going to be relevant because you will not be able to tell me what happened on October 18th of 2022. You don't know. Can't remember. And that's the point. It was irrelevant. So even though it was probably very important back then, today, completely irrelevant. And there you go. So it's a lot easier to follow it this way. If you want more tricks to stay the course and have a clear investment process, you can register to my free newsletter at moosemarkets.com/newsletter. All right, Moose, that's enough for today. We're going to talk about it again tomorrow. Until then, don't forget to stay invested.